but it will come with some challenges. We'll have the opportunity to tidy them up as we implement the new reform legislation. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. And this is well anchored in Article 25, Mr. Speaker, 25(1) D.E. thereabout of the Constitution. So it's well anchored in our constitutional provisions that we must create wider access, equitable access, equal opportunities for our educational opportunities that are available in this country. Speaker, with these words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me join colleagues to recommend to this House to adopt this report because year after year, the issue of access to professional legal education has been a problem, a perennial problem. And this House received several petitions from association of students who had written the examination, who had failed to get into the law school, and who felt unfairly treated. And at that point, I recall that even the General Legal Counsel had to carry out some reforms in the examination process with a view to introducing some level of accountability, fairness, and justice in the process. But once it dealt with the issues of accountability in the writing of the exams, the marking of the scripts, and the determination of results, it did not deal fundamentally with the question of access. That question was a function of the structure of the system. When we were students, we got into the law faculty automatically, not automatically, we got into the law faculty after sixth form. And at that time, there was only one law faculty in the whole country, the law faculty of the University of Ghana. So all the sixth form schools in the country, after you wrote WAEC, A-level, the law faculty would take only 100 students. 100 students. Only 100 students for the first year. For the first year. To determine whether you will be a law student to graduate with LLB or not, you had to do well in first year university exams. If you did well in first year university exams, you were likely to fall among the first 60. And it is the first 60 who were offered the LLB degree, the course. The rest will be BA students. They will be sent to all the other faculties, but they will be allowed to do certain courses like jurisprudence and etc. at the law faculty, which automatically enable them to go to the Makola, those days we call it law school.
Leader, yours is better. In our case, 150 students, and at the end of the first university examination, they will admit 60, 90 must find their way outside the law faculty.
Yeah. So, at different stages, you will see that the mechanism for sieving took place at different levels. In the past, it was getting into the university itself. Once you got into the university law faculty and you managed to scale through first year, invariably, all those who scale through first year will end up at the Ghana School of Law. That was the practice. Then, later on, as we liberalized, private universities emerged, and they also started running law degree programs. And their products also wanted to go into Makola. And that is how, initially there was exams actually for mature students, those who had degrees and were workers and wanted to go into Makola, yes. They wrote exams to come in. But then as the private universities started offering law degrees and there was pressure, that's how the system was open so that at least they could also participate in the exams in order to get into Makola Law School. And that is where we started having the problems. So what government has decided to propose to this House to consider is that since we have liberalized tertiary education and we have many private universities offering law degrees and they've been accredited to offer law degrees, then we cannot maintain a monopoly of the legal education program in the Ghana School of Law. We need to open up that monopoly. So all the other universities, if they meet the appropriate criteria and standards, they will also be accredited to run programs that will allow their products to automatically write the bar exams. So this is the greatest opportunity that could ever be offered. The only thing is that we must ensure that all those universities that offer law degrees maintain the requisite standards, because we don't also want, in the process of liberalizing, to allow standards to fall. So that is the major issue that in this legislation we must tighten to ensure that law faculties accredited to offer the program must maintain the standards. That way, every university that has a law faculty can have their products write the bar exams, and then if they pass, they will be called to the bar, enrolled. Let me indicate that we are not saying that many more people will pass the bar exams. And we're also not saying that it will lead to an automatic increase in the number of people to be enrolled every year. The only thing we are guaranteeing is that everybody who has a law degree from a university accredited to offer law will have an opportunity to also write the bar exams. That, I think, is what we are guaranteeing. The second issue of increasing the numbers is a function of the regulators. So we try as much as possible to look at how we can increase the numbers. If you look at the ratio of lawyers to the population, it is very, very, very high. In most jurisdictions, in America, in most European countries, in Canada, you have invariably a ratio of 1 lawyer to about 300 people. In most jurisdictions. Here, the reports I'm getting is an indication that it is 1 lawyer to 2,000. In fact, some say 5,000. Some say 5,000 to 7,000. But I've also seen statistics that place it at, 2,000. But if you look at all those who have graduated, we don't know how many who have passed on. But if you look at the roll, you may use that. But the fight, and then you divide the population by that number, you may get 2,000. But the reality may be that there are many who are not in the jurisdiction. So the actual ratio could be the 5,000, 7,000 to a lawyer. And so we need to also increase the numbers so that district assemblies, companies, corporations, traditional authorities can all have access to lawyers, because in all these places where there is some administration of justice, what happens invariably is that the absence of lawyers tend to delay proceedings and speedy, trials. And so we need to increase the numbers. So I recommend to colleagues that we should approve and adopt this report. Later on, when we go to consideration stage, we will look at all the proposals and find ways of fine-tuning them to produce a legislation that will stand the test of time. We are not the first to do this. This has been the practice in the United States for a very long time. So it's not new. There shouldn't be fears by those in the profession. I have always said that maintaining professional standard is not just a function of the training program. Professional standards are even better maintained by the judges in the courtroom. Because when your teachers have finished with you, depending on how you pass exams, there are many of us who will wait, and the day before will commit everything to memory, go pass, and the following morning we forget. So depending on how you pass the exams, the training itself in the classroom is no guarantee that you will maintain standards. It is the vigilance of the judges in court that will get the practicing lawyers to sit up, do the right thing, and then the standards will improve. And then the Bar Association also making sure